So I've been thinking to myself, if I've shot the Milky Way once in the city, why don't we try it again, but this time make a video about it, put it on YouTube and show you how it is done so you guys can learn how to do astrophotography in extremely light polluted areas. Let's go! Hey guys, Luke here. I'm in the city to do some astrophotography. Now the city isn't ideal for this because of the light pollution, but I'm here to give it a go and show you how I do it. Now I've done this before on the other side where the Harbour Bridge is with the Opera House. So I'm at Mrs. Macquarie's chair today to give it another go and to film it all. So I've here got my EOS R with me. I'm filming on my RP, so I've got two now. And we are going to do some Milky Way shooting. Let's go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, let me just adjust the shutter speed a little bit. It's better. We're going to go to the rocks over here and do our first composition. What we're going to do today is we're going to take maybe 20 or 30 exposures and then stack them later on starry landscape stacker in my case, because I use a Mac. If you don't have a Mac, you have Windows, you can use Sequitur. It is free, unlike Mac version it is $65 on the App Store. So without further ado, let's go and put this on. So what we're going to do now is level out the tripod so it is level. That's what I like to do so it doesn't like fall over into the water. So what I'm going to do is make the bubble level here, put this tripod in the middle. So what we're going to do is make the shutter speed about 15 seconds long. So yeah, Milky Way is definitely there. So what we're going to do now, get it into a rule of thirds, that way we've sort of got something to work with. So that looks about good. I see Vega going down and we will start shooting. Let's take a test shot at maybe, let's see, 500 ISO. Let's do that. And I've got a shutter release here, so I will use that to take a first shot. This may not be in focus, I'm just taking a test frame to see my composition and then I'll do focus from there. Let's have a look. So the Milky Way is definitely there, but in order to really make it pop, we need to stack the frames together. So to do that, we will make sure it's in focus at least first, because you don't want your frames being out of focus. So that looks pretty nice. We're going to probably turn it this way a little bit and take another frame. But first I need to check if I've formatted my card, which I have not. I'm going to do format it, turn down the display brightness a little bit, 2, and we're going to take another frame. Now the good thing is I have a shutter release, so what that does is it makes my camera not move, but also acts as a interval. Because if you have it on high speed continuous shutter, you can lock it, you can lock this and it will keep on taking photos. Let's have another look. Okay, the Milky Way is definitely there, let's leave it. Now if we go and show you the Milky Way now, there's Antares right there. Focus first, focus. Milky Way is right here, as you can see. And it goes straight across. So it goes down to Denham, which is over here. The start on the very far right down, looks like the pointers. That one right there. So that's Denham and Satter. There's Altair right there. And that makes the Milky Way right here. And there's Scorpius right down there. As you can see down here, the city is very bright. And this is Mrs. McCoy's chair, as you may know. Yes, this is New Harbour Bridge and Opera House with the lights off, which is very good because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do Astro here. So I picked the right time for it. So we have finished for the night and we are heading back home. I will then be showing you how to process in the morning. Okay, so we are now back at home and we are going to post-process the photos we took. Now I took a few of them. We're only going to use 55 of them because I somehow managed to get 94 of them, which is, I think, a little bit too much. So I've already gone ahead and adjusted all the basic adjustments, as you can see. So I've brung down the exposure, I've brung down the tint to 0, it was at 15. I've brung up the contrast, brung down the highlights, brung up the shadows, brung down the white, and brung up the blacks, just to try and neutralize it and reduce the clipping on each side of the histogram. I've also brung up the vibrance to 15 and the saturation to 5. I have curve stretched it already. Don't worry, this is going into a stack, so all this won't matter. I'm just doing it to get the most out of it. Now, with the curve stretch, I've done a small S curve. As you can see, I've brung the contrast just a bit higher like that. Now, that's good. So we've also brung down the sharpening and all the noise reduction so that we get the most out of this stack. Now we've also done profile corrections and removed the chromatic aberration. So that's all we need to do. Now we need to synchronize them all, which is quite easy, like that. And I just tried to record this and my computer shut down because I accidentally synchronized all of them, which is not a very good idea, especially when you're screen recording like I am. So we've got all our 55 photos. Let's go ahead and export them with Command-Shift-E. If you're on Mac, it is Command-Shift-E. If you're on Windows, I think it's Control-Shift-E. I don't use Windows, so I can't be really sure. So I've made a preset here. What you want to do is you might want to put it into a subfolder, whatever you want. I named it Stack, as you can see. So they're all TIFF files and Adobe RGB. Now the TIFF is very important because it will give you more detail and more data to play with when stacking. Now no sharpening, no resizing. Keep all the metadata there and don't watermark. This is important because when you're stacking you don't want a watermark to fade through when you're aligning the pictures. And after export I show it in Finder just to know it is done. So let's go ahead and export all 55 files. Okay, with all the photos exported, all 55 of them, we are going to load them into Starry Landscape Stacker. So once you get to this screen, what you can do is press erase red dots and get rid of the ones in the foreground. So the ones on the ground, because the dots are for the stars in the sky. So once that's about done, we're going to add some more for the sky only. So we're going to go around the buildings like that. Hopefully don't touch anything, or it doesn't really matter because you can always get rid of it later. So once all the red dots are back into the sky, we are going to press Find Sky. Once you press that, it will compute a mask for the sky and estimate where the sky and ground separates. Now, as you can see, Starry Landscape Stacker doesn't do a great job at estimating it. I mean, sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do the hard work here, and then you're just going to sit back and watch. Okay, so now we have done all of the hard work on masking. Now let's press align on composite. And now this will align all the images of the sky with the foreground and reduce all the noise. If you can see the blue in the photo, all that blue sky is just a mask so that you can see what you're doing and mask it out. So once this is done, it's pretty much aligned all of them together, and then combining them, and then we'll see the final result after this finishes. As you can see, the Milky Way is right there. It isn't very visible as you know, because of the light pollution, but it is definitely there. And as you can see, there is almost zero noise anywhere to be seen. And there's the Milky Way. Now, there's a problem with Star Landscape Stacker that I have noticed, and that is it wipes out all the stars underneath part of the mask. Now, I'll find out once I contact the developer of Star Landscape Stacker, just to find out how it and why it happens. I think it's because of the really, really wide angle that it happens. As you can see here, it's all trailed out. In this case, this is just a test video, so I'm not really fussed about it. But in other cases, when you're trying to print them, it's kind of a problem. So if I can get to the developer, I can discuss this, and then he can probably find out how to fix it. Anyway, so that's all done. Let's go ahead and import the files that we just exported. Command Shift I in my case on Mac. Now I'm going to go back to the stacked files, get rid of all the single exposures, like that, and bring all the composites into Lightroom. And from there, you can edit on into your whatever you want to edit. So here is the first one I took, and you can still see the stars are kind of blurred out here. Now in my case, this is not the biggest problem I see. Actually, it is the biggest problem I see, but it doesn't really fuss me out that much because this is only showing you how to do it. Now if I were going to print this, you can see Antares is completely washed out there and all the others are completely gone. But apart from that, it looks alright. So what I can do now is start editing the final image. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.